US President Donald Trump has warned that he is ready to consider rice export tariffs on agricultural exports, including Indian rice. Trump's pushback was a direct response to farmers in the US drafting complaints about cheap foreign goods undercutting local producers. Speaking at the White House roundtable meeting where he announced a $12 billion bailout package for American farmers, US President signaled possible new tariffs on Indian rice. All this is happening while a senior delegation from the US Trade Representative's office led by the Deputy USTR Rick Switzer is set to resume talks with India this week, with a meeting scheduled on December 10th and 11th as both sides look to push for elusive bilateral trade agreement. The US, to begin with, does not grow basmati rice, and India is the largest producer, exporting approximately 6 million tons of basmati rice annually. The US does not grow basmati, and even with the current 50% tariffs on Indian exports to US, the rice exports have continued quite well. When you look at the numbers, well, the US is the fourth largest market for Indian basmati rice, and during year 2024-25, India exported nearly 275,000 tons of basmati, which was valued at $337 million to the US. In the same period, India also exported 61,000 tons of non-basmati rice. Well, the Indian rice exports to US have seen constant growth. Apart from 2024-25 as well, in the previous year, 23 and 24, the basmati exports stood at a tall 304 million tons worth, while non-basmati was at a $45 million. Well, rice, remember, is the third most produced cereal crop in the world after corn and wheat. Over 100 countries grow rice. 15 nations provide 90% of harvest, and most of them are located in Asia. When you look at the top producers of rice in the global markets, well, India actually was on the top. With 150 million tons, India has a global share of 28%. China comes a close second at 145 million tons with a global market share of 27%. So between these two countries, it is almost 58% of rice produced between India and China. And then comes Bangladesh, has 7% global market share. Indonesia has 6%, Vietnam at 5%, while US with 10 million tons of rice production has just about 2% of global rice market share. Well, India rice exports clearly have been on a growth overall as well, not just to US, because when you look at the year 2025-26, 23.4 million tons of an estimate is a record number. Last year, we did 19.8 million tons, and in 2023-24, India exported almost 6.3 million tons of rice. India usually exports non-basmati rice to South Africa, Philippines, Malaysia, and various other Asian countries, while basmati rice goes majorly to the Western world, to Europe, and to West Asia as well. So the immediate expectation is that while, of course, it's a weak sentiment that has been impacted by the US president's statement, but whether or not the overall rice export to US will get hit, most of the markets believers say that is not going to be the case because basmati only comes in from India. Thank you for watching CNBC TV18. For all top headlines and updates, follow us on our social media platforms.